What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Apex, the podcast. The boys are here. We are ready to go. I'm here with Enoch right now. Weeps still on the grind. Couldn't make it this week, but we are here and we have an awesome interview. We're going to just do a short, quick little intro because right now we're in that weird little zone between LAN and right when regional final is over, where not a whole lot is going on. We're kind of just waiting for the entire tournament to start, which is going to be super fun. But hopefully you guys secured your tickets because I just saw a tweet that they sold out of the full 4-day passes. So if you're trying to get in there, might not be able to make it to Sunday, but I did see that you were still able to get Thursday, Friday, and Saturday tickets. So if you're in the area, maybe it's better that you weren't going on Sunday just because you could go one day, have a hell of a time, and then go back home. Whatever you need to do, if you have work, whatever it is. But I think the full 4-day tickets are all sold out, which sucks. But one day is better than no days. We've got LAN coming up here in just a few weeks. E, how are you doing, my man?
I'm a little bit tired, but we're out here. I'm grateful and I'm thankful, and I'm looking forward to everything that I got going on. And it was an interesting week of Apex. I would say it was by far, like, out of all of the rank splits that we've had, this was by far like the worst start that there's ever been. And have we talked? I'm assuming we haven't talked about it at all. Yeah. So
no,
for anybody,
it's terrible.
Yeah, for anybody who's wondering, we can kind of we'll just cover this right here. Like, when the rank season reset, it not only did it like yoink basically anything that anybody had bought within the last year. I think a bunch of people were losing badges. A bunch of people were losing stats. I lost my Buster Sword. Like, people were like losing stuff. And then everybody's like freaking out because like it was something to do with like them force merging another when you merge your accounts for cross-plat. They like did that again, even though everybody had already done it, and then it just messed everything up. And so then with that taking place, then you had the like 95% of the people got like everybody I think got reset at the beginning, but then like 95% of the people after like I played 2 games, had 2 wins. I think I played 3 games. I had 2 wins in like a 6th place. And then after that, like the ranked playlist became unavailable, and so then you were only able to play with like maybe like 5% of the people online were able to play, and so you then had to find one of the people that were able to play. Everybody's ranked squads got like broken up, playing with just random people, and then when that happened, after the like one game of that, it set me back. It set like the 95% of the people back to their previous ranked from last split. So I went from being like plat, I was about to be plat 1, to then I was like pred, because I was pred last season. And so then like what's going, like it's just chalked, right? And so then you have like a few people who were playing on the reset, Peep being one of them, and he's capitalizing on it as number 1 right now. But so like a bunch of days go by, then they rip like, okay, so a bunch of days go by, and then out of the blue, 6:30 p.m. EST, they didn't say nothing to nobody. They're like, hey, what's up, legends? We're going to be rolling out the rank split. I hope everybody has fun. I was 12 hours deep on a stream. I was LG. I was about to get off. And then I was like, all right, we're locking in. Let's go. Thankfully I was with Freddie and Morbid, and we were like, okay, we're locking in. We're like, race to pred begins. 12 hours deep, little adversity. We overcome it easy. We're playing, we're balling, we're setting good pace. And then it hits us. It's like 2-3 a.m. or I think at some point just super late like that. And it hits us, and we realize that there's a few people that didn't get reset. And those few people were the people who had gotten reset on the original reset day and were apparently just given their points. And so that there's like a certain amount of individuals out there who were just given 4 extra days to play the split. And so then when you realize that like you're out here racing a pred and there's already like one, like when you know that you're going to get there, that you're not even going to be able to see the number one because there's people that are just already there. It's just like, all right, season's chalked. It is what it is. And so yeah, it was an interesting week. It was a week where nothing that I expected. Like I was expecting to like hop in, rank 1 grind. This is it. I'm locking in. I like it's gonna be a good grind. To then it's just like, what? This is what they do? It's just like, it's an opportunity to make the best of the situation. And so I'm gonna be figuring out what that looks like. And yeah, it was an interesting week.
Hall of Shame past couple of weeks for Apex. just so many bad things happening.
I would say
like,
it was just by far like the worst start to a split. And now it's like nobody cares. Like there's very, very, very few people that are like playing ranked because of how bad it was at the start. And now we got cheaters back, and it's just it's an opportunity to choose joy.
There you go. We do have a little bit of news before we throw it on down to Jmeyels, our interview today. It was awesome. We did have Challenger Circuit number 3 was played, and Team No Name came away with the victory there. I didn't get to watch too much of this. I don't think you did either. Talk a little bit about CC though, because I think you have like some insight on Challenger Circuit.
Yeah. So. No Name. I'm gonna be honest. If you were gonna ask me like who I thought would be winning the CC, I don't think that they would have been on my list. But I mean, it's a group of like talented players, and I believe you said that there two of them are Mexican.
Yeah, it was the flag shows Mexico.
Okay,
and then it had 2 of the players were Mexican.
Yeah, they
and
are.
Then the third,
I know for sure that they're Spanish speaking. No doubt. And so it's exciting
Colombia.
to see. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's exciting to see that region, another team coming out of there that could make a potential run into ALGS and join Legacy and add another Spanish-speaking roster, which I think would be exciting, and especially be another way to gain more traction in that side of the world. And in terms of teams that were also performing very well, the one team that I do think is definitely worth mentioning is the fairly newly formed roster of Awakening, who was the third to skirt with Scubry and Alb. He's been teaming with Vosky, who's a guy who's been grinding out CC for a while, and he's been getting better and improving. And they joined up with Zeto, who is one of the best like movement comp players. They've formed a squad, and they were looking really, really, really good for their first time out as a team. I didn't watch it, but their performance coming out second and basically I believe they're in a position where they were in a really good place to have a chance to win it in their last game, but got absolutely I think they got ratted on by LC, which you hate to see it, but this is a team that they might not be able to make it into the PLQ simply because they're only going to have 2 CCs to be able to acquire points for that for. But if they decide to like stick together, which I think this is a team that will for the next round, it's definitely going to be one of the top dogs that are going to be running around the lobby. Speaking of that lobby, it is one that at this time I more than likely will not be setting my feet back in. It appears that my foray, my little escapade into Apex Legends comp has come to an end, and I feel I'm good with it. I'm happy with it.
What a run it was.
It was a good, nice little 2cc run. Definitely, we never popped off and played in the finals, like the way that we definitely could have if we had put even a little bit, like an ounce bit more work. And I do think that we were really close to getting somewhere, but there was just like a multitude of things that all kind of just went wrong that led to this. There's like a little bit of a lot leading up to it, but in the incredibly like spark noted version, going into it like the whole time, like I originally was going into those like, we're just doing it for fun. It's a content team. We'll do it and we'll have fun. And that's how I pitched it to a prize, and Morbid was down, and it was always like me and a prize like weren't like as like locked in and passionate as like Morbid wanted to be, as Morbid was like subbing in pro league scrims for oversleepers and just getting a lot of reps in and putting in the time and really developing as our IGL. And then over time, like it became clear that like a prize was like, he just came to us and he was just like, yeah guys, like he sent us a message about him not being passionate about Apex as much as he used to, and that he wasn't, and like comp wasn't really helping with that, and that he had absolutely nothing against us, but that he was just going to look for something else. And then we were trying to find somebody who would fill in and be that third. And then when we found somebody who could be our third as a potential, Matt wasn't super on board. And he was kind of wanting to shift from his sub role, and he already had plans to leave and go join a team for the next DC. And so then with all of that going on, Morbid was just like, okay, like I'm gonna just call it, and then I'm just gonna LFG and see what the options are. And so then when Morbid had said that like he was gonna LFG, then Matt was like, oh, like we can still put a squad together. A prize said he'd play for the last time, and I was just like, I mean, a prize doesn't really want to play. You have a team that you're already wanting to go play with for the next CC, and Morbid doesn't really want to play at the moment. And so I was like, yeah, you should just go. You should run it with the team that you want to play with next time, and just make that happen. And so Matt had offered that I could have like a sub role to like get points for this weekend if I wanted to keep playing. But if I'm not playing with Morbid, which I completely understand, Morbid not wanting to deal with like the whole sub thing, and him wanting to like just find like a duo that's out there that he could join in. And like I think that he's going to have an incredibly successful comp career if he ends up continuing to pursue it. But he might be leaving Apex altogether and go, and he might be playing X-Defiant and going and making a run at that. And so really just a culmination would be that everybody was kind of losing passion, and then like the sub thing with Matt wanting to go and do something else, and that whole thing coming to an end. It's just like, this is probably where it was all heading to the whole time, but I'm glad that we got to get out there, have some fun, and make it happen. And the fact that we played in 2 CCs, we didn't scrim once. I scrimmed after the fact, because after our second CC and after we did so bad in finals again, Morbid was like, all right, we're going to need to, like, if we're going to do this, we need to start scrimming more. And I was like, all right, I'm down to start scrimming. We scrimmed a couple days, but then we just never ended up making it to that third CC. But we made it to finals twice without scrimming as a team. And we just showed up, walked in, and when the fact that we made finals twice when there were teams out there that were working way harder and they never did, and there's like teams out there that weren't able to do it twice. Like I'm happy, and
you guys had a highlight reel, bro.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, like once I was like getting into it, it's like it became clear, and that's like the real like the main reason why me, Morbid, and Sleepy Panda fell apart was because I basically was like, guys, I'm just like, when we had like we had a first meeting, like we had a layout of like all the times we were going to be doing and all the meetings we're going to be having with like scrims and the meetings with the coaches and stuff. I was just like, dude, I'm just not. I was like, I got my own content that I'm like working on and doing is like my main priority, and like doing all of that, and like it would just not be working out. And I got a young one on the way. That's just the amount of like time that I would need to put into Apex Comp in order to get like the rewards that I would be needing to make it worth it. Like I have the utmost confidence that if it was like what I genuinely wanted, that I could get after it and make it happen, even with like the sub stuff and all of that. But my heart's just not, it's just not there.
And that's totally
And
okay.
yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. And so I had fun. You know, there are gonna be people that are gonna be like, oh, you placed terribly in finals, and it's just like I don't like. I
You
went
made
out
finals,
there and
though.
I made finals twice. We didn't practice. We just showed up, and yeah, we definitely made some mistakes, but it was a good run, and I enjoyed my time, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to the other opportunities that I'm working on, and frees up some time to be spending on other projects, and I'm excited to see where things go.
If anybody says anything to you about like you not doing good in finals, I want you to just say, okay, well, Wyatt didn't even make finals, and his stat line was 2 knocks, 1 kill. That's what I want you to say, because that's probably the skill level of the person saying that to you. Is
Oh,
my skill level.
I haven't even seen anybody like say anything like that, but I'm assuming that like just people out there like whenever like somebody like stops doing something, it's like, oh, well, like, oh, like they're probably, that's just because people might look at it and be like, oh, they placed in finals bad twice, and then like the team fell apart. And it's like we didn't fall apart because we were playing bad, you know, like we
Dude,
fell
I
we fell apart
honestly,
because we a lot of us like lost. It's just a a big culmination of a lot of things combined that led to it ending. But like, I genuinely don't think our finals performances were ever
no, dude,
like the
you're having
thing.
a fucking baby, bro. Like, what are you gonna do? Sit in a scrim meeting while there's a baby in the background? Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm very
Come on.
excited to be hanging out with my kid.
Yeah. Hell
It's
no.
gonna be
And you're just
fun.
looking over, your kid's smiling at you, and you're hearing about how you need to rotate better out of fucking whatever POI. Hell no.
Yeah,
You're over there
I'm
to chill with the
excited.
baby.
Yeah, because like with Apex Comp, there's a lot that goes into like, I think our team basically shows. I think it does a good job of showing that like you can take like three good players, and if they're like really really good, just off of like their mechanics and like their game sense from like playing ranked, like because that's really what we were. Like, you just threw us together, and we're gonna be able to make a finals lobby. But like being able to perform in a finals lobby with a bunch of other teams that are all like finals team caliber teams, there's so much more than just being good at team fights and having a good gunny. Like, once you get to that level, there's just so much more that goes into it to really differentiate the teams. And we definitely could have figured it out. And I think Morbid, like that guy, if I could like, if there was like a Morbid like stock, I would be purchasing, because that dude is
On the Apex stock market.
yeah,
Just
he's
buy all your morbid.
yeah, I would buy the Morbid ticker for sure, because like that dude
Yeah.
is he's gonna be a talented player. If he ends up saying he might be moving to X Defiant, low key, I might be moving to X Defiant. I doubt it. I doubt it. I really do doubt it. But we're gonna put together a nice little. We got a nice little dream team of Hoodie, who's my Scotland homie.
Hell yeah.
He's really clean. And so we're gonna put together a team of Hoodie, me, Morbid, and Fred for X Defiant. And whenever that game comes out, and I think we're gonna go for like #1 ranked team, and really just try to like pop off, and see some action over there, and just see how things go. But that's more something that I'll probably be dabbling on, instead of making the full switch. But you never know. We'll see how things go. Because dude, I mean, I just don't think. I mean, I never played it at X Defiant during the beta, and so I just don't think that's going to be able to come close to Apex. But Morbid seems to think that it could be the play, and it's made by the same people who made Modern Warfare 2, and so that is like one of my favorite games ever. And so if it doesn't have a BR, I really don't think it's going to be the angle, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see. We will see what happens. Well, ladies and gents, That's about it for CC, and that's about it for us. We're going to throw it on down to our interview with Jmeyels. If you don't know who Jmeyels is, content creator in Apex. I don't know how you don't know who Jmeyels is if you listen to this podcast, because a lot of the stuff we find out is from him. So you're going to want to listen to him. Very insightful, very good interview. And I think if there's any aspiring content creators thinking about potentially quitting their job and diving headlong into it, this is somebody you want to listen to. And it's more about timing, not so much the act itself. Proper timing is something that he preaches here. So I think everybody's going to want to hear a little bit of that. Very, very candid with his entire career so far, and just 23 years old. So very young for how he's doing it, and already seeing some of the things that he would change if he could do it all over again. But an awesome time with him. He's great to hear from. We're going to set it on down to Jmeyels right now, and then that'll do it for the show. We'll catch you guys next week, and we're getting closer and closer to LAN. So be on the lookout for more content. I also put out a mini episode with Weeps and Enoch on it, a 0.5 episode for anybody who wants some extra content this week. 2 episodes this week coming out. So there will be a second one there for you. Should be there right now. So go check that out. We'll catch you guys next week for another episode. Now here is Jmeyels. All right, here we are, ladies and gents, with a very special guest. It's been a long time coming. Jmeyels is on the pod for the very, very first time. Now, Jmeyels, I got to be completely and bluntly honest. Me and Enoch have probably, on days where we are just dead tired and we have not kept up with anything, we've had conversations in the pre-lobby being like, "What's going on this week? I don't know. Do you know? I don't know. Let's go check Jmeyels' page." We just scrolled to Twitter.
No, that's 100%. Like if we're like, oh, let's like really like, did we cover everything?
Awesome.
All right, let's peep the Twitter. No, we
Yeah,
have. We
that's
have.
awesome.
I was gonna say something too, because I was gonna we have given you previously a shout out, but as a huge thank you in person now.
Oh,
we
let's go.
appreciate
Yeah.
your
Dude.
service, and it makes our job of creating our content easier having you as a resource.
Yes. So
I'll
big
be
shout out
honest,
to you.
That's awesome. I've watched. I didn't watch every episode, but I've watched a good bit, and I know you guys. I've watched the streams and stuff, and I've never really had a personal conversation with Enoch or anything. So like, I didn't even know he really knew me like that. So like, to hear that is I almost got a little teary eyed. It was really cool. I really
listen,
appreciate
bro.
it. No, I'm glad to do it, man. It's a grind, and some days you don't feel like doing it, but I just do it anyways. And I knew there was a gap that needed to be filled, and it's what I do. It's like just kind of what feels natural, being the news guy, and I just do it. And I'm glad it has provided value for others.
Well, I'm glad you're doing it. Me and Enoch have both been glad you've been doing it, because I think that like you said, there's a market for people who want to learn more of this info, but don't readily have all of the, there's a lot of Twitter beef, right? And sometimes it's so hard to follow where it started, what happened, and then sometimes you just want the story condensed. And I think that's something that I really appreciate about you, is the fact that you still write. And reading those articles, man, like, how to write, and it makes it so much easier and so much better to follow. As far as writing goes, I think a lot of times people look at that medium and they say, oh, it's a little outdated. Not because it is outdated, because I think everybody should learn how to write a little bit, but it's just because a lot of times now the attention span of people is so short. Like, it's so hard. But I think you going into that is actually a very big thing. And for you, how important is writing to you, and maintaining and keeping on top of that moving forward? Because I really appreciate it. As somebody who went through school for writing and stuff like that, I love to see that it's still it's happening in our scene.
Yeah, so I have a weird format for how I do things, and so one thing is if it's not like I have a grade level, like if it's like super super big, then I'll write about it. If it's something that it's like, it's not that deep, we all know the answer, so-and-so won the tournament, and it's just that simple, I don't probably won't write too much about it. Like, I'll just say, hey, here's who won. Like, for instance, the finals, CC finals were recently, and so we knew who won, but we also knew there were implications for the amount of CC points going into it. So like, there was more to be uncovered there. So like, that's when I'm like, okay, look, I'll prepare everything for that day. I'll tell my wife, hey, I got this big tournament coming up, and so like I'm gonna write a story as soon as it's over. And so like I'll just be, while the tournament's going on, I'll be going through and we'll find and I have someone that I work with now because I used to do everything myself for like the first few months. And finally I've got someone to help me with it now because I've got 2 kids. I just had another son, or I just had a son about a month ago. So
Congrats.
Thank you. So I have a daughter who's 2 years old, and then so it's just a lot, and I don't want to put everything on her either. So I have starting to build a little team, and so I'll say, hey, here's the context, here's what we know, here's what so we'll kind of build all the context up. Sometimes you miss out on some important context, get flamed on Twitter, and that's why I'm glad things have grown a little bit, because I think finally now I can put out there and like, hey guys, I will mess up. I am not perfect, and I hope you guys can forgive me beforehand, because it'll happen one day and I'll mess up again. I'm sure I'll have some more beef about how Jmeyels, clickbaits this or whatever. It'll happen. I'll screw up, and I'm sure, I'll have to face the consequences for it. And I just hope that at the end of the day, the reputation has been built up enough where I can come out and apologize and people will forgive me. But yeah, there is a lot of work that goes into the ones we do write stories about. Most everything I try to keep about 1 article a day. So if I'm slack, like lately I've been kind of slacking, but I will try to go and say, hey, I don't want just a simple tweet. If I'm just going to be shallow, then just do a tweet. So why make an article if it's just going to be shallow? So I really try to put, here's the context, here's where everything came from, here's the implication that it has, here's like how this affects everybody. So it is important to for me, because I want to be a reputable source. I want to provide value I didn't even know I was providing value for you guys, but like I also do it for my channel. So I go through and when I make my videos, oftentimes I'll include it in my my own articles and stuff, because I know it's condensed. I know it's all there. I don't have to go through and pull all these other tweets and stuff. It's just right there on the same page. And so those things are important just for my sake, because I know they're helping my videos out. But then I also know that if I don't put everybody's name in the proper light that it deserves, then they'll get flack that they might not deserve, and that's not fair to them or their esports career. So I try to do the right thing just with integrity. So yeah, it is important. Some things are pretty shallow though, and we'll just tweet out like so-and-so won, so-and-so made a roster change. We all know, but if it goes deeper than that, then I'll definitely write a story.
And I like that too, because a lot of times on Twitter, like if you're going to take the time to click on something that you believe to be an article, my biggest pet peeve is when you click on it and it's literally just a link to a video or something like that. Because it's like, why didn't you just upload, like you just put the video right there? And a lot of times they'll get you with that. So I do appreciate that you take the time to like write and actually put some like effort into something that's bigger, especially like those bigger stories that you mentioned. Let's take a quick step backwards and kind of figure out how you got into this content creation world, and more specifically in Apex.
Yeah, so 2019, I made my first video. I was actually big into competitive. Just had a girlfriend, no kids, no marriage, no nothing. Living with my parents. Thought that my path to a better life was become a pro. So I was playing ranked on. Well, I actually made a commitment that the next Fortnite that comes out, I'm gonna hop on it. Like. So Fortnite was big and it changed a lot of lives. And I was like, man, I should have jumped on when it first came out. So I said, the next time that big game comes out, no matter if I like it or not, I'm just going to jump on it, because I know that it's a big opportunity. So when Apex came out, I said, not really a big fan of Titanfall. I only played COD and Gears of War. And so I said, but I don't care. I'm just going to jump into it. I'm going to do it. I played 8 hours a day, maybe more. Met Mercy only back in the old days. And so I played and teamed with Mercy for many months and played in those little pro league scrims where you Q snipe Iowa GCE2 and had to put into the bot server that so and so is your kill leader, and it'll tell you if you're in the right lobby, how many pros are in your lobby. So I played all that stuff. I was Apex Predator for season 2 and 3 and just played tournament, won all these kill race tournaments. And eventually I said, well, this isn't really going anywhere. It's really competitive. It's hard. It's really hard to be a pro. It's super demanding. And I knew I've got a goal. I want to get married. And I know it's not fair to her if I continue to do this and I don't have an income coming. It's one thing if it's like, it's really booming. She's going to understand. But if there's nothing coming out of it and I'm starting to get drained from it, it's just not going to work. So I said, I've got to make a switch. So I said, I was friends with someone at the time, the news guy back then. His name was Seth Lee. He's not really around very much anymore, but he did all the Apex news back then. And I said, hey, man, I want to get into content creation. Not really sure how to do it. What do you think? And he basically gave me the opportunity, like, hey, if you'll just make a couple videos that can provide value for me, then I'll give you a shout out for it. Like, so I started going in with all the maps, all the updates, and I would go in and find little Easter eggs or nitty gritty details and that he could use. And so he would give me a shout out for it. And I got my first 100 subscribers that way. And, you know, when I first got that first 100, it was like the coolest thing. So it just gave me all the momentum I needed to really feel good about it. And I just kept grinding, kept doing more and more and more. Then obviously things trickled up, just learned a little bit how to make better thumbnails, how to make better titles, how to make better videos, upgrade some equipment, just kept going on and on. Changed some jobs in the real world while I was doing all of this. Eventually viewership just got enough to where we could do it full time. And so that was on my main channel where it was just Apex News. And I still run that channel today. And so that was my primary channel. And then about 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago, I said, dude, we need an ALGS channel. Like, we need like a breaking news type of stuff for ALGS because no one's doing it. And the esports scene needs to grow. We're like so weird because we have such a good game and we have the best, in my opinion, battle royale esport, but yet we are not getting to that level viewership wise that I think we could be at. And I'm sitting here watching, I'm like, dude, like Fortnite's getting crazy numbers in World Cups. They're pulling in millions and millions. I was like, I think Apex Esports is better. I really do. I think our format makes more sense. It's more, you know, arena style. It's like Coliseum. We're all around. We're really watching this and really rooting for these teams. I was like, dude, we need to do something. So I started making the ALGS videos similar to Tactical Rab, which is a Call of Duty YouTuber. Pretty much, I'm friends with him, and I told him, hey, dude, I'm about to make a channel that's literally identical to yours. I hope you don't mind, but it's based off Apex and ALGS stuff related. He said, dude, go for it. That's awesome. So I did it, and it started off slow. People really, what I noticed though, total different viewership. Those guys, the people that watch comp are so die hard. They are so committed. They love comp. Apex News, on the other hand, is, dude, it goes all over the world, all over the place. You know, you'll have a video that pops off. It's interesting. They like the ideas. They like the new updates. But then after that's over, they don't really care what you have to say. ALGS, on the other hand, these people show up every day because they want to hear what I got to say about TSM. They want to hear what I got to say about Dark Zero. Because if I piss them off and they're like, oh, they're in the comments, they're ready. Oh, how dare you say that about Imperial? How dare you say that they're not going to win? And so they are really, really emotional. And so the like ratios translate a lot. You know, you can really tell these people are super engaged. And I knew it was a good thing. Like, you know, I know the viewership's not the same, but I know these guys are committed. And that's what I wanted. Was less worried about the numbers, more so worried about really getting involved in the community and really building that connection and bridging the gap, because we needed more content to watch. The feedback I've gotten from it has been amazing. Jay, I sit here at work waiting for your videos to drop. I watch them on my lunch break, and that I have YouTubers I do that too. So to hear that people do that for my channel, it means so much, because I'm like, I'm looking forward to these other guys' channels videos to come out all day. So when I hear that people are doing that, it feels awesome. And I'm just glad that people are liking them, honestly.
So
you're muted.
No, I'm good.
Oh, sorry. I hear you.
All right. And so when throughout this process did you really start to focus on making an emphasis of getting basically like the news postings and having the written format? Because
like on Twitter?
Yeah, so you gave us a really great breakdown of the YouTube scene, but when did you really hit that emphasis as like, I'm gonna be like write like more written form in the delivery style?
So I think that like I realized that YouTube was very disconnected from Twitter, and the comp scene is really involved in Reddit and Twitter a lot, or X. And And so like the YouTube videos were cool and people will come to watch them, and they were, they're very community based. But then I realized like a lot of pros and a lot of content creators don't really watch. I don't think they watch a lot of YouTube videos like that. They're always just on Twitter. They're retweeting stuff they see, and they have beef on Twitter, not YouTube. They don't make YouTube video disses about one another. They make tweets. And so everything was just happening on Twitter. It's just a different environment. So I said, well, that's where everybody goes. The pros are going to interact over on there. They're probably going, and in order to let this stuff grow, like they're going to probably spread the word more if they're seeing it on where their eyes are located. And that was Twitter, not YouTube. So I looked at it and I said, well, not only do we have the YouTube stuff built up now, but I was like, there's also a void of, I'm trying to actually someone approached me and I said, hey, it's a good idea. So it actually started without doing the articles. It started with just tweets. So it just, because I was like, what it was is I was watching CDL, Scrim Intel, CDL Intel, and a couple other Call of Duty accounts. And I watch Call of Duty esports a lot. And so every time they would post something, I'm like, oh, this is crazy. This is the roster change. I'm like, this is exciting. This is awesome. And I'm like, wait a second. Here we go again. There's nothing like that for Apex. And so at first I started, well, let's just go with like basic knowledge. Like we know roster changes are very, prominent. So whenever they happen after in the off season, I'll just start it up. So that's what I did. Alberelli, I think, was one of the first ones, and he made a roster change, and I just tweeted about it, and it did really good. And I'm like, interesting, because this is weird, because my Twitter was very dead. I had no ALGS presence over there. It was just basically like my little, couple people that watched me from YouTube. So that was weird. I was like, okay, I'm getting a good bit of likes on this. So I did it again, and I did it again. Then someone said, dude, we need an Apex, we have Dexerto, we have all these things, but they really just do Apex news. And if it gets really big, then maybe they'll step in ALGS, but that's only if TSM makes a roster change. That's only if a big organization comes in Apex. And I was like, he said, you need to start a website. You need to start like a Dexerto type ALGS thing. I'm like, dude, that's a good idea. But I was like, it's going to take some time. So that's what we did. And so I got into a little bit of rumors tweets, and I know those sparked some controversy. I got some pros that reached out, and they would give me some like small details that I can make some tweets about. And so that's where we really started to build up a reputation, where just the tweets, it was just roster changes. So-and-so got dropped. So-and-so made a move. So this is happening to Apex Esports. And then finally I got the website built. Finally, I got it all done. Started making articles. And basically, I would just give a hook instead of the full tweet. I would just put the entire story on Twitter so I could lay out more context, because that was the problem with the tweets. So I started to get a lot of backlash with how shallow they were. They didn't tell the full story. People didn't like the way they were being portrayed. Like if someone got dropped, then it was like, hey, well, I didn't really get dropped. It was actually a lot deeper of a story. So I couldn't say all of that in a small tweet that has a limit cap for characters. So it was hard to condense everything down. So I said the website, a full article will be better. So that's when I started. That's when I started rolling with it. And I was worried it wasn't going to work because putting a link on Twitter post normally doesn't do good, but it worked. I think the cards having the pictures and pros seeing their face on there. And then it got a retweet from Sweet Dreams. It got a retweet it got liked by Imperial How. It got retweeted by, so it just went on and on and on, and people started spreading the word. And then a lot of big pros, I will say, like Jen Burton reached out, or I reached out to Jen Burton, and he was like, dude, I think you're hilarious. I think it's great. Don't worry about what anybody says. Sweet says, I love what you're doing. Keep it up. We really need something like this in the scene. So all those big creators and all those big streamers and pros got behind it, and they really helped me, because I think I was building some growth naturally, organically, but I don't think I would have gotten as big if I didn't get the support of those that are already established in the scene.
And now we fast forward, and all of a sudden, you've got the Jmeyels media empire of Apex. You've got everything. Like you said, you have the Apex news. You've got all the ALGS stuff, and you have the Twitter. So, I mean, it's really grown into something really cool. And something you mentioned before was you were taking a look at our esport and saying there's not enough going on here. We have the best game. It's the most entertaining esport to watch in the battle royale scene anyway. And yet we're still not getting this growth. Fast forward to now, we have this show, we have you, we have guys like Jayhawk, guys like Jumba. There is content out there for Apex competitive if you want to find it. But do you think there still needs to be more? Like, do you think we're still just barely scratching the surface on what can be done for Apex esports?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll be honest, it would be a prideful move to say that, that I think someone's gonna eventually do better than me. Someone's gonna eventually do better than Jayhawk or what. I don't know. Jayhawk's really good. And, but I think someone's going to just be motivated, and someone will look at my videos and say, I can do better, and they will do better. And eventually and then I'll look back and say, oh, screw that. I want to get better. And then that's just the way it goes. And so I think we all just get involved. I think more people will think that they have a better opinion. And honestly, you see a lot of just talent. People are really, people on Reddit and Twitter, they are really good about finding things. And I think that there are some investigators out there that really have a drive. I have a drive to spread news and like get the information out and publish things and get people talking and like make the world go round, if you will, in the Apex scene. But there are people out there that really want to dig into drama or really want to dig into. So I think there's a niche out there for someone to dive into social engineering and get real leaks, like big roster moves and drama that are happening behind the scenes, because we know it happens. I mean, people talk in real life, and there's more that goes on than just what you see on Twitter. And I think there's a world for someone to do like these. I don't know if you've ever seen, was it CoffeeZilla, where he makes all these exposure videos where he does a lot of digging. I think someone could do a lot of digging in the Apex and come up with some really good stories that could probably, just provide a lot more value. And there's so many things that we haven't even thought about that a new mind can just think of, and they'll bring a lot of value. We just got a couple good, decent content creators that are doing solid right now, but we're if Apex is going in this direction where they've said they're going 20-year type game, whatever, I mean, come on, we'd be crazy to think that it's just going to be these same people for the next 15 years. I mean, there's definitely more room to grow, and people are going to, new content creators are going to emerge, and I think the quality is only going to get better.
So you mentioned that you've had a few pro players reach out to you, and we've gotten a lot of the positive ones. How many ones have you had where like the dude is just absolutely just pissed?
Yeah, unfortunately it happens. I think I'm a bad people pleaser, and for a long time until I told you about this job recently, I'm not gonna lie, this has kind of been a part of the bad time I went through recently, because I was really concerned with how I was perceived on the internet, because, well, this is my job. I'm the sole provider for my family. And so like to know that my wife and 2 kids depend on me, I was so worried that one pro will just talk bad about me and then my reputation's ruined, and then I might be screwed, So I was really worried about how pros perceived me. I had so much anxiety every post I made, especially roster changes. So I was like, dude, if that pro just retweets, especially on someone with the size of like, say not, Nice Wig as a content creator, or Hal, or whatever the case may be, and they say, screw this guy, this is so wrong or whatever, then I was like, it could be detrimental. I mean, we know how it goes. I mean, there's a couple of people that hold a lot of weight. Their words hold a lot of weight in the community. And so, yeah, I've had some bad ones. Thankfully, I've never had anything go crazy where it was like that, like cancellation type stuff where like my career reputation's ruined. I've had a couple of people say that, I wish you would have told the full story. I wish you would have shown this. I don't think it's fair you didn't show this. And I'm honest. Hey, you're right. And, well, there's a couple of people I said, well, hey, I don't know. I think I was just showing what was public and that all that I knew at the time. I think I did my best that I could. Now that I know what you're explaining, I agree. And I'll add that if you want me to. Oh, no, I don't want you to. I was like, well, how am I supposed to help that? So, but then I've had a lot of people say, just some small things. I would suggest doing this. I wasn't a big fan of this. And I agree. Hey, I didn't see that at the time. I apologize. Most people seem to be okay. But then I've had some people recently, especially during the offline regional finals. So I actually just saw, and I was working with my team to say, my helper, that hey, I've been seeing a lot of people say that they think they're playing offline. Well, let's look on their account stuff online, and all of them are in the same game. This is weird. None of them are streaming. This is kind of strange. And I just tweeted out like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but they're all playing offline, and this is a weird thing. Could they be playing finals? I don't know. Ha ha ha. I got a message from someone. What you're doing is, really damaging. And I got it because they made a good point. Something's trying to hide itself. Why bring attention to it? But my like response was, well, I've asked, because my thing is people are afraid to give me information because they think I'm just going to go leak it. And I'm like, why would I leak something? And like from a creator, from like a pro level, you tell me something and me go leak it. I know you're going to go right on Twitter to say, Jmeyels is, whatever. And, I can't believe he did this. I'm never going to trust him again. I just lost my reputation. People are not going to trust me. Why would I do that? And so when I ask, I'm literally just asking because I'm trying to see if, is there anything I need to be aware of? So the conversation I got back from a lot of the coaches and pros were, hey, nothing's going on. There's not. I was like, hey, are you sure? I don't know. I think we're kind of on to something. No, I promise you're not on to nothing. They're just baiting you, man. You're just getting baited. And I'm like, okay. So I tweeted about it. Why not? And then turns out they were playing it, and I was in the wrong for bringing attention to it. And then, there's people that they responded though, and we cleared it up. It's like, hey, I didn't know that. People weren't talking to me. You're the only one that told me. If I was told, I would have never done so or whatever. And so I think the transparency lacks a little bit because there's some people that don't, I guess, know me, and that's fair. Obviously, I'm not like massive or anything, but there's some of that there that can cause problems if because I'm not the biggest guy, and they may just think I'm clout chasing or whatever, and whatever. So not everybody's receptive, but most people have been 85% okay. I would maybe 90% or so.
I mean, going off of what you just said, I'm gonna have to side with you on this entire thing as far as like when you go to school for journalism, they tell you like you have to find the story. And I don't think it's your fault that you noticed something, you picked up on something, you tweeted it out and let everybody know, hey, I think this is happening. I don't think that falls on your shoulders. That falls on the shoulders of Apex not making it known that something was going on, because if Apex would have said, hey, we haven't figured out an issue yet, we're going to be playing this offline, we will air it Monday at 5 Eastern time so you can watch it, I think then that would have been a much better way for the community to know, because it wasn't like you were the only one who said anything. A lot of the pros had already been tweeting out who the winner was like a few days before it had even officially dropped. So I would say, as somebody like who went down, and that's what I went to school for, you were not in the wrong on that. I think that's more of a communication issue with Apex. The entire point of a journalist is to figure out the story and to get the story. Like that's what journalism started from. Like if you go back to the early days of, the newspapers and stuff like that, they're trying to figure out what are the wrongdoings in the community so that the people know. And not that this was a wrongdoing or anything like that. And I'm not just saying this to hype you up either. I'm saying this as somebody who like that's the entire point. Like you're trying to get the public to know what is going on. That's the entire point of what you do. So I actually would commend you on that. I would tip your cap to that, because me and Enoch were sitting here about to record the show when that was going on, and I was like, "Are they playing it right now?" And Enoch was like, "No, I don't think so." But then
I really didn't
find out.
Yeah, I didn't think they were.
They were.
Yeah.
And so it's like that. I think that goes more on the shoulders of Apex, because they have been notorious for not being very good at communicating. And if they would have said something like, "Hey, we had to play this offline. Sorry, blah 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 blah," they probably would have dealt with some blowback, which is why they probably didn't say anything. But that's also on them once again for having this problem be 5 years deep. all that.
Well,
so I don't know. I kind of think you're in the right on that.
I
to be
will
honest.
say, from Apex's perspective, I believe that the reason they did it offline was because they didn't want like anybody outside of like the pro players who were playing to know. Because I'm pretty sure even other like NA Pro League players didn't know it was happening. It was like literally just the players and everybody involved because they were wanting to keep like the whole thing. Because I think what they were worried about is even if you're doing it like not streaming, that Destroyer, if he knew that it was taking place, that he would then have everything that he needs in order to get involved. And so they were trying to do it without Destroyer finding out that it was happening in the first place. But I don't, like, realistically speaking, like, you're just doing your thing. I don't think you did anything wrong. If they're going to get a little bit upset about it, who cares? It doesn't matter.
My thing was like, I think sometimes I can be a little wishy-washy because like I don't want to get on anybody's bad side, because at the end of the day, I swear I'm just a regular guy. I just want everybody to be happy. And it's hard because I know that we're in a world or an environment where it's just statistics. You're not going to be liked by everybody. Someone's going to have something to say against you. And it can suck because I look up to a lot of these pros, coaches, creators, and I love like their content. I used to watch them all the time, and I like, a little bit of a fanboy, whatever. And so when you set that environment up for yourself, you're almost like afraid of rejection, I guess. And so, you almost don't even want to get to know them like that because you're just afraid that you're going to like find out that they've thought about you all along as being the annoying clickbaiter or the annoying, whatever. And, who knows if they actually like you or not in the community. And that's why I'm really glad that I've got some, I really just terrible. It was a terrible thing to do, just to seek validation from others. And, so I was really just glad that, now that I've kind of set myself up a little bit and things are going smooth, and I've kind of got some good connections to where I feel safe, where, I'm not really worried about the backlash anymore, because I know, look, I am trying my best. I really am. And I don't want to mess anybody up. I want everybody to be happy at the end of the day. And I know we're all just trying to go to the same goal here for Apex. And so I think we're okay. And I think it'll be that way. And if something ever comes up, I trust that, everybody's a cool cat at the end of the day for the most part.
I would agree. And also, like, once again, I didn't even think about that point, Enoch. So you made a great point on that. And then once again, I thought like, all right, well, we still are 5 years deep and they still have not fixed this issue. So I don't know.
It's like what I said too. I said, someone said like, oh, all these people tweeting about it when they're obviously trying to keep it secret. And I'm like, well, it's not the player's job to keep the game protected from hacks. I mean, like,
that's somebody. Yeah. That's my only point. That's the only thing that I can say. But it was a weird situation nonetheless. And we'll get a little bit deeper into that in a moment. I wanted to quickly go back and revisit one of the things that you had mentioned before that I thought was interesting. We talked a little bit before we started the interview about, jobs, occupations, different stuff like that, going through content. And one of the things you mentioned was you had just kind of started getting into a new field because for a while there you were going through a little bit of a rough patch, and now you've kind of found yourself on the other side. I think it's a really interesting side to hear about from your perspective, because there are a lot of people trying to make it in content that also still enjoy working on the other side, like and doing that, having that balance of doing both. So I wanted to hear your story a little bit so that people could kind of see what you're going through.
Yeah. So my goal, like when I first started, was like, look, there's no other option besides YouTube. Like if I don't make YouTube, then my life's over. That's the only thing that's going to bring happiness. That's the only thing that's going to bring fulfillment. And it wasn't really like getting popular. It was more so about the sky's the limit on content creation. I'm not limited to a 9 to 5. I'm not limited to how many hours I can work. I just need to make enough money so that I can stop working so much and get out of this rat race and just enjoy my wife and kids. Like that's all I wanted, was to be able to retire our family so that we can enjoy each other and that we can enjoy vacation, and that I feel like our natural purpose is because who we are is who we are in private and who we are in home. Our hobbies, that's who we are. Work is just that outlet that we have to make money. It's our vehicle to make money in life. And for a lot of people anyways, because we all signed up for it. I got to make money. I got to go get a job. And that's just the way that it is. Well, I really started telling myself when I was young, well, why not get a job that you love, like actually love, like not just, hey, I like computers and I build computers. I tried that, by the way, and I went and got my CompTIA A+ certification, got a day one job at a PC tech store, worst job ever. And I left the first day, never went back. And I let my certification expire, and that was it. And I'm like, I kind of learned the lesson that day that that's not like, everybody just thinks I like construction, I like this, and they just go into that field. But like, it really took some time for me to find out what I really like. And then I thought it was YouTube, and YouTube is it. But I realized in this, what I like is not like necessarily content creating. It's running a business, and it's like thinking of good content ideas that need to be out there and just putting myself out there. Nothing formal. I hate being formal. Like I just love I still right now I walk into Walmart in pajamas and flip-flops, and that's just me. Like I just, because I'm not going to be happy if I have to dress up and act like somebody I'm not. So I get on the ALGS videos and I talk crap about whatever, and I don't know what I'm talking about a lot of times, and I'll say something stupid and I'll get called out for it, and I make mistakes, but I'm cool with it because I'm trying and I'm just having a good time, and I love Apex esports. I love watching the tournaments. I love that we have a community where we get around and we chat about it. And so, but there became a time where I was working so much, and I was like, man, I'm really trying to get ahead in life. And right now with YouTube, I made a mistake when I first quit my job. And what happened is I got to a point in YouTube where I was getting a lot of views, but I wasn't uploading a lot. And so my income was like solid, but it could have been better if I was more active. And so I just got to the point where I was making a little bit more than my regular job. And I was like, okay, I can quit. And it really just wasn't a wise decision. It was more of a emotional decision. Like, I just want to be there. I want to give up this 9 to 5. And I just wanted to cross that line. And I did it prematurely. And so I just basically barely got by paycheck to paycheck for a long time with YouTube. And then I basically had a kid, and it just changed everything. Like, I'm like, okay, you really got to make sure you never put yourself in that position, because it's one thing if you go under, but you are not going to let your kid go under with you. And so I really got the dad brain, and I just started working. I started making more videos. I started developing ideas of how can I work more but not be annoying in the scene? How can I actually bring more value? And so I started thinking about different type of formats that I could do and new types of content I could add and how I can make it all work. And so I did it, and I've been doing it, but it's been too much. It's just been so we were literally at a playground a couple of weeks ago. My daughter's having a great time, and it just kind of hit me here when I realized the format that I live. News drops, roster mania goes crazy. My daughter's having a great time, and I have to pack her up. And I said, I got to go make this article. I've got to go make this video. It's time sensitive. My competitors will beat me to it if I don't, or patch notes. I think that's what it was. Patch notes. It was patch notes come out, and all those news YouTubers are working at it. If I don't get it out quick, then I'm not going to get any views on it. And, a part of being a YouTuber is just keeping that momentum going and stacking that momentum. And so I really hated that moment. I'm like, man, this sucks. Like, I hate being so just at the beckoning call of whatever news is. I have to be there. And so I had to make a change. I said, you're just barely kind of getting by. It's putting a toll on you. You're not really enjoying it anymore. How can you find a way to enjoy it? Keep the income, keep the presence, because there are things about it that I enjoy. I enjoy ALGS. That's what I enjoy. I enjoy ALGS, and I enjoy the tournaments and being involved in the community. But what I didn't enjoy was just being so didn't get to watch the tournaments because I'm making articles. Didn't get to watch the tournaments because I'm making videos. Didn't get to play the update because I'm making a video about it. I didn't get to play anymore. And it just felt way too much more like a job. And so I said, well, if that's the case, I've already built this business. I've got to keep it because this is my income. This is how my kids live. This is how my wife lives. This is how I live. I've got to have it. So I hired some help to basically be my coach or motivator, get me going, tell me to not quit, remind me why I can't quit, get me to streamline this. Let's get TikTok going. Let's try shorts. Let's try everything. Just get more active, get more involved. Let's stop uploading 3 times a week. Let's get back to daily, get me back going. And I just needed that help because I couldn't do everything. I needed someone to help me edit, help me, get the topics together. Anything I miss, help me with the articles. I went out to dinner with my family. I hadn't seen them in a while. And the whole time we were at dinner, I'm on my phone writing an article because it was just, that's the way it is. It's the way the job is. You got to be quick. And it really got to me. And after doing it for a while, I just said, I can't do it. I hired the help. He's been the greatest investment ever by far. Like, it's a lot of money. And, but I was like, look, with the amount of money we're getting back from how much more work we're doing, it's paying for itself. And the burden is finally lifted off me. I am scheduled in 3 weeks to go to Disney World. Unfortunately, it's right during the land and I won't be able to go, but this will be the first vacation I have ever been able to truly be a part of and not have to be at Disney World on my phone, writing an article, be at Disney World on my phone, uploading a video or whatever. And I'm so excited. And so in order to do that, I said, well, if I'm going to do that, I've got to replace my time with something that's a little bit more free because I was also going through a financial pinch. Unfortunately, I told you guys I did everything premature. I signed myself up for some bills I shouldn't have. I learned the hard way. And just dumb mistakes that a 19-year-old, 20-year-old makes. And so I had to bounce back from it. And so I said, well, you're young, you've got to grind now. And so I really loved that what I was trying to do with my YouTube income. I basically said my goal is to get rental properties. So I want to keep this house I'm in. I bought a house at 2021 before I quit my job. I got the house. When I got the house, I quit my job. And then I said, I want to keep this house. I want to move it to another one. I want to rent this one out. Because obviously, if you guys are involved in the real estate industry at all, you'll remember interest rates were way better a couple of years ago. And so I got a sweet interest rate on it, paying really low payments. And now the rent value was just insane. And so like just getting normal rent, I'm making a good extra income off of it. And so that was my goal, to just keep doing that. It was a lot of work, a lot of moving your family to another place. And I realized there's a lot of workarounds. You can't just do that and go get another house. You have to have a good plausible reason as to why you need to move. And you can't just move next door. It has to be a bigger house because you're growing family, or it has to be an hour away because you need to get closer to your family. You got to have good reasons to. And then there's loan programs. You got to jump through those hoops. And learning all of this, I realized I can do this. Everybody tells you it's too hard. But I realized I can do this, and I loved it. I would ask questions all the time. And so I started to really enjoy. I would start watching podcasts, Bigger Pockets, and just trying to get into real estate and stuff. And so eventually I asked someone, hey, I know you're in the real estate world. And he said, well, I'm actually in the mortgage industry. And I said, well, I want to learn more about it. And so we got involved, and basically I said, dude, I want to do it. I went and took my courses. Within 3 weeks, I was done. Within the next week, I took my test, made a 91 on it, passed it, got my registration to do mortgages. And now I help people buy homes, and I love it, man. I started to basically I have this guy helping me with my YouTube business, and that's my full gig. It's still my primary gig. And this will be my primary gig. This is where my heart is. I love this, but I have hobbies, and part of those hobbies are I love to get out there. I love to talk to people. I love to meet people. I love real estate. I love to talk about homes. I love to buy homes. I love to help people buy homes. And that was a weird thing because I'm a geek. I'm a nerd. I like video games. So to suddenly think that you like to help people buy homes, that just wasn't me. That just sounded more formal. And I just thought, that's not me, but I love it. And you can't ignore it. If you like it, then so I'm having a great time with it. And started a couple months ago. I love it. And I'm probably the happiest I've been in about 2 years mentally. I love life, man. And I was really going through a time where, just full disclosure here, just really went through a dark time about 4 years ago. And that kind of repeaked itself 2 years ago. And then recently, months ago, when I was just getting so overwhelmed, it wasn't quite as bad. But man, I went through some really bad times. And I always made fun of people that went through those times when I was younger because I thought it wasn't real. I'm like, there's no way, come on, like that's just not real. Like you don't need that. You don't really need that kind of help. And when I felt it, and I just sat there in a closet, and my wife's crying outside the door, and I'm thinking the worst thoughts I ever thought. And I'm like, dude, you're always the happy guy. You're always the jokester. Why are you thinking this? And what's wrong with you? I realized I got to start getting more peace in life. And this chasing a thing that's not even real, chasing this facade, it just wasn't working. And so I just said, look, I make a commitment. If you're not happy, then drop it. Go find what makes you happy. And so all recently I went through the stuff, obviously, with worried about what everybody thinks. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I'm rambling a lot, man.
No, you're great.
Nobody has asked me these questions ever. It's always about Apex stuff. So I love personal stuff because I think it's great. I've never really been able to talk about it. So yeah, I had the issue obviously recently where I'm worried about, I don't even know if I'll be able to do this article stuff because, what if the pros don't like me? What if Nicewig don't like me and he makes a bad tweet about me or something, or what if the pros call me out and then I'm just a cloud chasing nerd who needs to stop trying to make it, and it'll ruin my career. It's over. And I was like, dude, you got to get some confidence in yourself and just say, screw what everybody else thinks. If they want to like you, they'll like you. If not, then not. And then just be happy and validated in yourself. And I've been practicing that, and I just got a lot of peace, man.
That's so great to hear. And I think it's you bring up a really interesting point that I don't think a lot of people who want to get into content creation think about. And number one, it's the going into it too early and deciding, okay, I'm in there now, I'm going to quit my job, like you mentioned that you had done before. But I think it's also interesting because everybody refers to the 9-to-5 life as the rat race. You hear that all the time. Like, I don't want to be a part of the rat race. And I always find it funny that even when you go into an industry that a lot of people would be so envious of, a lot of times you find yourself in just a different rat race. Like you had talked about, like all of a sudden now I'm looking at numbers. Now I got to make sure I get this article out before everybody else, and I got to do and you're ending time with your family so that you can get this out, and you're at dinner typing this stuff up, and it's like that is the rat race, and I think a lot of people who want to get into content creation forget that when you're in this world, it's not just you and what you make, it's what everybody else makes around you. And Enoch probably feels it sometimes too with streamers. It's like, it's not just what one streamer does. There's a bunch of other streamers and you're providing a service, but so are they. And you have to try your best to be yourself, be the best you can be, and have people stick around. And it is a very cutthroat world. It's very tough. And it can lead to a lot of those moments that you had mentioned in this. And I really appreciate your candor talking about it because I don't think it gets talked about enough. You see all these young kids, like I have a lot of the guys at work who are younger, I'm 28, they either just turned 20 or maybe 19, talking about like, hey, I want to get into content creation. I don't want to do this, 9-to-5 thing anymore. And I'm like, you think that when I clock out from here that I just go home and it's just, I'm done? I was like, I clock into an entire different world now. Like now I'm still working just as hard. It's just on something different. And I don't think enough people take enough time to realize how draining it can be to look at numbers, how tough it can be to make new content, how hard it is to come up with new ideas, especially when you started in one lane and now you're like, okay, I'm getting tired of this one lane. I want to do something in a different lane. You try the different lane. It doesn't work as well. Now you got to figure out how to make that better. It's like it's all a culmination, and it's very difficult. It's not, there's definitely really tough jobs out there that people do where it's maybe physically strenuous. But in this content creation world, it can lead you down a dark path, like you mentioned, and I'm very happy you brought that up.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I felt bad for my wife the most because I would just look at studio and say, oh, my video did 10 out of 10 today. My day's ruined. Like, it's over. Like, just my channel's dying. It's just all over. It's just the sky's falling. Like,
Dude,
my tweet didn't get any likes.
Now that is the most relatable. It was just like the feeling of just like, oh, like everything's falling apart. Like, but then it's just like you just need to just breathe, relax.
Yeah.
It's all good. Life is great.
Exactly.
But no, dude, so relatable. So relatable. No doubt.
I actually brought up something like this last week, talking to Jumba, and this is what I call it. I call it the staring at the ceiling night, and that's the night where what you just mentioned, you have like a video
Can't sleep.
or some piece of content where you're like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to provide for my family. Like I just had a baby as well. She just turned 5 months, and I'm looking over at her in her
Congrats.
crib. Thank you. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like I'm sitting here on a microphone talking in a podcast, and she's sitting over there and she needs to eat. And for you, I have my own ways of going about it. Usually I just talk to my wife and have her kind of calm me down. And it seems like you mentioned that for you as well. But are there any other strategies or things that you use in your experience to help you kind of pull yourself off of the ledge and be like, I'll be fine. I just need to keep going?
Oh man, that is a tough question. I'll be honest with you. I'm a very emotional guy, so a lot of times I'll just find myself like alone or something with my kids or something. And my daughter, she just loves to play, and so like sometimes it'll just make me like I'll just cry. Like I'll just say, like I'm just like, gosh, like you just deserve everything. Like you just deserve so much, and I'm really trying, and I hope I can do it for you. And I'm like, just it's just weird because she doesn't understand anything I'm saying, but I just like, man, I want you to know I really care about you, and I swear I'm gonna make this work for you and mom and your brother. And man, it's tough because especially when things get rough, sometimes you don't know. And I had a moment about a month ago where I literally just I went outside and I just like, bro, I just let it all out. And I just looked at this guy. I'm like, dude, like times are so rough right now. Like, man, I was getting behind on stuff. And I'm like, dude, I'm not happy. And, money's getting tight. And I don't know what am I going to do? Like, am I going to start winning? Like, I'm just tired of hurting. Like, when do I get to win? When do I get to have a good day? Like, when do I get to just say like, oh my gosh, I got the greatest news ever? Everybody was getting bad news, and I just like every esport organization was like dropping out. Everybody was getting dropped. Everybody's views were down, and it just was like so bad. And I was just like, dude, is this where it ends? Like, what am I gonna do? Like, I really did not know. And so like those moments, sometimes you in life, you just really try to, I'm a guy, I'm gonna figure it out and whatever. And you think you're going to, and a lot of times you figure some stuff out, but there's sometimes where you just got to let go, and you've got to like humble yourself and realize that you're not above the stresses of life. We're all prone to it. And so man, yeah, it was, so I really would just say I try to be as real as possible. I don't my strategy is just, I'm transparent. If I make a mistake, I really have practiced. I go to my wife and I'll say, hey, I did this and I'm sorry. You called me out on this. And you're right. I'm sorry. She does the same for us. We try to keep it transparent like that for my kids. If I ever say something to, if I get aggravated, my daughter right now is going through a really bad, terrible tooth, man. She'll just throw right now shredded cheese all in my bed. Just literally just like, she wants to eat cheese and she just throws shredded cheese all in bed, and then she jumps, two little monkeys jumping on the bed, and I'm like, you got to get off. And I'll just start like, and so eventually my wife was like, you got to chill, she's only 2. And like I'll feel terrible. I'm like, you're right. So I try to keep myself just on a level playing field. I try to be completely transparent and humble. And when I get sometimes where I'm holding my son or if I'm playing with my daughter, I'll just kind of, I know they don't always understand, but I'll just tell them like, hey, I know dad works a lot, but it's going to work out in the end, and we're going to get there, and I'm going to give you the life that you want and that you deserve, and it'll work out in the end.
Yeah, no, as someone who's about to be like, someone who's about to have a child walking around and not too many months away.
Wait, are you really?
Yeah. We got.
Whoa! Congrats.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so that should be late September, and so everything that you just said is
this
all
announced?
things that
is this public?
Yeah.
He tweeted it.
I
Yeah.
tweeted it.
Oh, I had to have responded. I'm so short-term memory loss. I probably forgot that I even responded.
Yeah, no. So, yeah, no, I appreciate everything you said, and it's definitely something I'm looking forward to as part of the process, is just being able to show and handle like how to handle unfortunate things and being able to model those things in a good way for young ones.
I'm not perfect, man.
Yeah.
I'm I wouldn't even say I'm the guy to learn from. I could just tell you what I've gone through, and I feel weird because like I'm young, man. I'm only 23 years old, and I've got a wife and 2 kids, and that's
baller. That's baller. 100%.
I started real
Baller,
young.
100%.
I quit my job. See, this is another reason I did things premature. I was so adamant about trying to be ahead of the game that I quit my job right before I turned 19, just so I could say that I quit. I was able to quit before I was even 20. And then I realized, oh yeah, you're cool now. Look at you behind bills. And yeah, how cool are you? Yeah, just stupid, just an idiot trying to rush your life away. Just take your time, take care of what you got to take care of, and so. But yeah, for my kids and stuff, and even my wife, I've just full transparency. I just put myself out there, and even the community, even like my YouTube stuff, I make a mistake and I'll just come out and say, I made a mistake and you guys can hate me for it, because I know that people want to see real. There's so much fake right now. I think there's fake in the community still, like just in general, people try to become content creators and they live a life that's just fake. And that's why you see all this, people getting canceled, whatever. You'll hear stuff come out of whatever, and you're like, whoa, weren't you just posting on Twitter the other day that you felt this way, and now here you are talking? So it's like you see a lot of people that are just not really who they are, and I just try to say, I am what I am, and I is what I is, and this is me. And so if I screw up, call me out on it, and if I can't accept it, then yeah, I mean, that's my fault. I'm the loser in the end by not growing from it.
So I do want to get into some of your thoughts on ALGS right now, because LAN in LA, it's going to be awesome. You've been probably watching, and I'm sure you have some teams that you're looking out for here. I kind of want to get your thoughts on some storylines that you're looking into going into this LAN, because there's going to be a lot. I think this is going to be the biggest one we've had in a long time, and I don't think it's just because it's the latest. I do think that there's a lot of big things going on in this one. What's the one storyline you're looking at, and one thing that you're looking to see get resolved in this latest LAN?
I think a story, I don't know about a specific team, but I'm thinking the region of basically anybody but NA. I think everybody's looking at that and they're like, are we just going to get a different region to ever win? And I've been following this story, and I think I kind of started this trend on my ALGS channel where I'm we're looking out for APAC North. APAC North is who we're looking out for, and they're the ones that are I'm really rooting for them to do good this year. I'm really hoping they win a LAN, and here they are. Ooh, Fnatic's doing good. They're winning scrims, and here's Reject Winity. They're winning scrims, and then here we go again today. They're doing it again. They're just Fnatic and Reject are really consistent so far, and I want a team like that to be able to. I don't know. You just feel like North America has so much influence. And it's almost like you just want to see them get jabbed back in the face real quick and just see how they take it, and because they don't respect and I'm from North America, so obviously you may think like, oh, I want North America to win everything, but really, I want there to be some, I guess, just humility in the scene. Like, I just want everybody to respect, oh my gosh, that guy's a good player, and I don't even know him. I don't watch a stream. I've never watched him play, but he's good. He's better than me, So like, I really want to see somebody who's not known and doesn't get a lot of viewers, who has that talent, and mostly it's other regions, because anybody in NA that's that good, they probably do get a lot of traction and viewership. So I'm looking for APAC North. To that's my storyline is watching an underdog like someone who's not respected in those other regions to make a win. And I'm thinking Fnatic. That was probably my pick a couple of weeks ago. So I would say Fnatic. If I had to do a backup plan, I love the personality of Nasky, but I love 07. I just don't know if it's practical. And I hate to say that because, I feel like I'm cool with them on a level where they'll see this, if they'll say, oh, we don't like Jay no more. But I don't know, man. Putting 07 above a lot of his NA teams is hard. But so I would say Fnatic right now is probably my storyline I'm really watching out for.
So as far as I do want to get your full prediction here in a little bit. But as far as just your overall sense of where ALGS is at, obviously there's been a massive security breach, and there's been a lot of, actually, you know what? Apex has had like a hall of shame couple of months. Like it just has not been going good for them. But as far as the esport is going right now, do you think we're still trending in the right direction as far as, growth and all that kind of stuff?
If you excluded all rumors and all, like if you excluded all rumors and predictions of what people have said, then yes, I would say yes. If you include rumors, then I think for now, but it sounds like from what I've heard that next year is a little unknown. And then, but honestly, just in general, I do think things are trending better. And yeah, I think we'll see some good news throughout the rest of this year. And then I'm curious to see how next year goes, because I've heard both sides of the story. I've heard that, there's some things that ALGS is worried about next year, and I don't know how long that this new thing that we were all excited about, I don't know how long it's going to last, and all this stuff. And what are they going to do with the partner program? Is it going to extend, or is people going to leave, or or more organizations going to drop out? Is anybody going to come back? I've heard that the blah 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 is not going to, so who knows really? But so it's hard because a lot of those rumors turn out to never be true, and so you just really have to take it day by day. And overall, if I had to just predict, I just think that streamers like Hal are too big, and the competitors that have been in the scene for so long are too known. And if Apex, I think that Apex is not dumb enough on the level to let, EA's involved. So, I don't know. You just never know what you're going to get. But I think in general, they know, specific people in that scene know what needs to be done. They know what will make the esport work. And I think as long as they have some influence, that we will just continue to go in a better trajectory. We're going to have dark days. You're going to have bad news. That just happens. But think about this year. Everybody thought it was ending, man. All these organizations left. It's chalked. It's over. How many new ones came back? How much more good news did we get? People got really happy with the partner program. People got really happy with the with some of the other announcements, and many other teams came back. And Navi come back, SSG come back, Luminosity made a big change, and more Navi, or I think I already said Navi, but many others just come back in general. And so it's like, yeah, we lost a lot, but we've also heard that some of those people might want to come back at some point. So who knows? I just don't think we're in as bad of a situation as many might say.
Yeah, hand up. I was definitely one of those guys on the pod, and Enoch, like he always is, was the anchor that brought me back down to earth, because I was like, dude, we're losing everybody. We don't know where LAN's going to be. And then a few weeks later, they dropped the partnership program. A few weeks later, LAN is in LA. A few weeks later, Liquid comes back.
Liquid,
you have all you have all these orgs coming back. We lost some, we gained more. I think a little bit will be true, a little bit will be false, and somewhere along the way we'll probably be in the middle. You know what I'm saying? And then hopefully we just keep going upwards after that. I saw a tweet today that LA was sold out. That's huge. LA sold out? Let's fucking go. I looked at the amount of seats that are in the Galen Center. It was like 10,000. That's money right there. That's money in the bank that they could use.
Well,
for the
I
future.
think the way they have it set up usually too is
probably can't use all of them, but that's still
because they normally set it up really weird to where it's like super small. Like the arena is very small, because they'll like basically lose 75% of it, and they'll just like only do the audience of one side. But it's because there's so many teams. Like normally, like COD, you can have two like sections where 4 players here, 4 players there. They go head to head, and everybody's out there, and they're all in the stands, curved around, whatever. But Apex has got so many teams, so they normally just kind of put everything up front, and then have like the seats right there in front. So because you got to watch all these other guys. There's so many teams up and on. What is it? They have like 2 stories of.
Yeah, they have
now,
double
like,
story stages.
Yeah, so really weird, but yeah. So, but still, in general, I mean, if they set the expectation of here's how many seats we wanna sell, I mean, they're making their own expectation. If they're selling out, then I think they're maybe meeting their own expectation. So that's good news.
And it's especially good news in terms of like having more lands in NA. I think like selling out LA this early on should mean good signs towards getting more of these stateside.
Yeah, I agree. So I think one thing people are worried about are the land locations, because obviously London was a bit of a weird one. Many people were like, oh, the first land, it's dead. There's nobody there, man. This is terrible. This is not good. And then like as it progressed, of course Sunday was pretty packed. Saturday is a little better. But I think in general, like, I think they saw London as three lands in the same location is not a good idea. I'm glad they're changing it up. But I was really hoping for like a Japan land, and it's just interesting to see where things will go after LA. But yeah, I'm intrigued.
So I'm a casual king, right? And I know that you have the Apex News channel out there for all the casual kings like me who want to learn more about what's coming in the future of Apex. And you don't have to go full leak mode. But as far as some of the cool things you've maybe heard around, the conversation about Apex coming up here in the future, is there anything that people should be excited about coming into maybe potentially season 21?
Yeah, so what I mostly do now when it comes to leaks is like I'll just challenge them. So like instead of like a lot of those other YouTubers, well, they'll make a video, oh, so and so the new weapon coming and here's the stats, or here's the new legend abilities. What I normally do is challenge them, like here's what we heard, here's why some people think it's true, here's why some people don't think it's true, here's why this person might be good for ranked, might not be good for ranked. So, like, for instance, some changes I actually talked about today that I think if it happens, and if it's even what we think it is. So one leaker had put out that there were Apex Cups that were found. It was a game mode. It was called Apex, or like the files literally said Apex Game Mode Select Cups. And so he had asked, whoa, he said literally like, whoa, like Fortnite Cups. And remember, if you saw Fortnite Cash Cups, like these were like $5,000 weekly, monthly, whatever tournaments, and they were literally like their esport tournaments, and there was a leaderboard inside the game. It was a built-in tournament system for money. Man, it was awesome. It was really awesome, and I've always preached that needs to be in Apex. We need some more in-house tournaments where you can play in-game, sign up for these tournaments in-game, and everybody get involved. Man, the streams would go crazy for stuff like that. Well, not only is there a game mode apparently called Cups, and there's a leaderboard for Cups that they found in the game files, and then there was also a teaser that Apex put out yesterday, and it was Octane signing up for an event. And it says contest sign up. Octane signing himself up. And I'm like, what's he signing up for? Because he's in the games already. He's in the Apex game. So is that the link to Apex Cups? He's signing up. I don't know. So that's one thing many people are looking out for. Another thing was Apex just literally came out this season. I actually spoke to a dev about this. I was like, yo, didn't you guys just say solos was never coming? And they said, yes, we literally just said that in season 20. And there's a leaker out there who says he's heard otherwise, that solos, because they've also said control mode was never coming permanently. Then here we are in mixtape playlists existing, and it is there kind of permanently. So is there a world where they change their mind and add it in a weird, different way? Maybe. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things out there, but a lot of sources out there that have said these things, and sometimes they've been wrong, sometimes they've been right. So it's like you said, I think it's a good idea to have, just to know you'll probably be somewhere in the middle.
I just want to put it out there now that you're a cringe loser if you play Revenant and solos. Just putting it out there.
Imagine. Yeah.
If that happens, yeah.
That'd be interesting to see how solos would fit in with like the current legends that we have. Because like the legends that we have now compared to like the legends that were available all the way back then when solos was a thing, very different.
Well, he also said that there was a quads mode.
That would be
where-
fire.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and he said they weren't limited time mode. So, I don't know. It's just so hard to think that they just said it was never oh, we tried it and that thing's never coming back. And then 4 weeks later, all of a sudden, he knows that, by the way, he knows his reputation's on the line if he gets that wrong, and he's still willing to say that it's coming. I mean, it was really bold to say that. So I don't know. It's kind of weird the way these leaks work. I don't personally like partake in them because they're just, the way they work is a little strange. But basically, there's they've got the whole data mining stuff, but that stuff is not really even serious anymore, and it's so open to everybody that you never really get crazy big information out of that anymore. It's really the sources who get early access, play test stuff, and dude, these guys just, they have no shame. They will just send it right to these leakers like no problem. So it's funny to me because everybody gets mad at the leakers. I was like, dude, it's your favorite content creators that are sending it to the leakers. Like, they're just ripping these pictures off and sending it to them. And it's not always the big content creators, that you never really, they change a lot because there'll be people that stop getting invites to the stuff and they got to go get a new source. But it's always amazed me how people are not afraid to just share the information. They just don't care. So that's why my goal is to challenge it. And I'll just say, well, here's what Respawn has said, and here's what the leaker said. What do you think?
Yeah, there's nothing that makes me more annoyed than when people get mad at leakers online. Mostly because in the early days of Apex, when nothing was being said at all, that was the only way that I could get hype for anything that was coming out Apex-wise, because it took forever for you to hear anything. Like, the gap between Season 0 to Season 1 was insane. Like, there was just these huge gaps of just nothingness. You're like, is this game dead? And I know this, you see the joke all the time in Twitter comments where it's just like, dead game, whatever.
Yeah.
But there was a time where I was like, is it dead? I haven't seen anything. I personally don't mind it because I like to at least, like you said, challenge it in my own head and be like, well, maybe this is coming, but if they were to do it, how would they do it? Like, when you say solos, obviously we have the information that they said they were never going to do solos. But I think if you flash enough money at anything, this game would be like, yeah, we'll do it, right? And I think that is a huge opportunity that they would be able to cash in on. And I think there'd be a lot of cool ways that they could do solos. Like, for instance, if you only allowed a certain number of legends to be selected on a solos day and it changed, weekly, daily, whatever.
That's a good idea.
You know what I'm
just
saying?
Rotate the legends that could be used. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think that would be fun. Like, that could be something interesting. So yeah, I similar to you, I kind of like thinking of these things and not taking it at full face value, but having my own fun with it and kind of like trying to figure out how they should or would do it. I think that's the better way to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, back then they didn't even have. I mean, back then it was predictable. When the leaks came out, that was pretty much what was going to happen. Nowadays, it's like a lot of it's just not true. A lot of it is true. So I kind of still get hyped when they release the official stuff, because a lot of stuff comes out from the official stuff that we didn't know and that was just inaccurate from the leaks. And so to me, it's not even the same anymore. Even the Revenant stuff, the abilities for Revenant Reborn got leaked. And then when they came out, like right before he came out, people found out that there was a whole different set of abilities for him that were totally different than the last set. And one of them was right, but you didn't even know which one. So it was like a waiting game. It was like, which one's it going to be? So it's always still hype for me. Back then It spoiled everything, and I still liked it, but I understood the devs. They were frustrated because they worked so hard. But also a lot of the people that got frustrated, don't remember that back then the devs made jokes on dev streams about the leakers, like, and they didn't care. And they literally told people, and I remember DMs, they said, well, of course we don't love it, but at the end of the day, it's our fault. So, we're not really going to chase anybody down for that. And so that's where it all came from, where it kind of set the precedent that, hey, it's okay to do. It's not the greatest thing and it gets frowned upon, but it's not the end of the world. It kind of allowed it to happen.
There was a lot of times they would leak their own stuff too. Like, I remember they leaked the 30-30 and the bow like seasons and seasons before on a dev stream. Like, they didn't take out the bow and the 30-30 as they were flashing stuff on the screen. And then I don't know if you remember this.
Now you've got the new legend altar and stuff, and so they've just shown it, dude.
Yeah, and then the what's it called? Remember when they tweeted on the Apex Legends Japan account the Fight Night event where the boxing ring inside of Olympus was going to be there? They tweeted that out. Like,
Yep.
they were the ones who tweeted it, and people were getting mad at leakers for that. I was like, bro, they were the ones who tweeted it. Yeah, so I agree with you on that. Well, Jmeyels, this has been great. We're definitely going to have to have you back on because there's a lot of stuff we didn't even get to cover here. Before we let you go, I want a prediction. I want your winner, who you actually think is going to win from this LAN, and then a dark horse. Give me your winner and a dark horse.
Yeah, so man, how in the world do you say that TSM doesn't win it? It's crazy. Now, it's like weird because you got all these teams together and like your naive mindset wants to say, well, it's a battle royale. Anybody can win on any given day. And that's true. But there are some teams that just win like every time. Like they're just always there to win. And I'm going to stick with my plan because I said earlier in the season that TSM would not win a single LAN this year. And I also said that Dark Zero was going to struggle, but they obviously have not. And I had no reason to say that. I just literally had a gut feeling. I was like, I just got a feeling it's going to happen, you know? But not the case. So I'm going to say my gut feeling tells me that either Moist or Dark Zero will win, and I'm going to probably keen in on Dark Zero to win.
It's a fair choice. It's a fair choice.
Yeah, I mean, you know, what are you going to do? I mean, they're number one in Pro League, very consistent team just in general. I mean, not even from last year. I mean, just literally recently, these guys are still looking solid. And so during the ALGS news channel, we actually went through an entire month of scrims where Dark Zero got in the top 3 every single scrim that month. It was crazy. And I'm like, dude, there is no team consistent like that right now besides them. So yeah, I would say I really have this gut feeling about Moist and to do good. I think Dark Zero will win. If I just had to predict, I would not be surprised if TSM won, but I just going off a gut feeling that TSM won't win a LAN this year. My dark horse, I mean, do you consider Fnatic a dark horse? It's like, obviously most people think that they're not going to be as good as Dark Zero. I mean, Fnatic to be as good as Dark Zero or TSM. But I think that, you know, they kind of are established to some degree. So if I didn't say Fnatic, I would, dude, this is a weird one. But the BR Demons from South America have not looked as bad as most South American teams usually look inside of scrims. And so they've been surprising me because they've definitely not been a Dark Zero level type team. Don't get me wrong. But they are a team that is probably the most slept on region. And so I'm just assuming they're going to get last place and everything. And they've not. They've had back-to-back days, top 10s, not looking horrible. So a Dark Zero to do decent in the tournament, I'll say BR Demons. A Dark Zero to win the tournament, I'll say Fnatic. I think Dark Zero to win. Dark Zero to win it.
I think you meant Dark Horse, and you said Dark Zero.
Dark Horse, sorry. Dark Horse to win. Dark Horse to win Fnatic. Dark Horse to do pretty good. That I think will shock a lot of people. BR Demons, the actual winner of the tournament, I'll say Dark Zero, maybe Moist second.
And to clarify, I think we'll go with anybody who is not TSM or Dark Zero is eligible for Dark Horse.
I agree with that.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Let me give you a flop. I think Furia flops.
Oh, damn.
I do. And the reason...
Have you been talking to Jayhawk recently? Is that why?
No. What is Jayhawk now?
He's got his opinions, you know. He's
I've not heard anything. No.
Yeah.
I will just say that Furia is a weird team where they will go through moments of, top 3, top 4 in Pro League, and then regional finals comes like, what the heck did we just watch? Like, that is not Furia. Vaxlon on that squad was just, man, that team was unreal. But they were unreal in what? Scrims, just scrims. So we never really know what they would have amounted to. All I'm saying is that Furia they're consistent for like 90% of it, and then they're really inconsistent for 10% of it. And so I don't know what version of Furia we're going to get. And when the only thing I've seen so far from Proof is that when it comes finals time, when it really matters, we're seeing a bad version of Furia. And so I don't know. That's my maybe that's my flop.
I hope you're prepared to be in a hype video, because they used us in a hype video before the season started. So you might be in a hype video.
I was in a hype video for the
prepared.
tripods too, when I said that, Nick Merckx, man, he's doing terrible. And this is a long time ago. I was like, man, he's getting a lot of flack. Nick Merckx not doing good. And then they qualified for Pro League. This is like the previous year. And they used me in their hype video. I was like, well, I deserved it.
Yeah, you haven't made it in the scene unless you're in a hype video. That's what it is. That is what it is. All right, well, Jmeyels, this has been awesome, man. Thanks for hopping on. Enoch always closes it out with this final question, and I'll let him ask that.
All right, Jay. Everybody who we have on the pod is performing in the top 1% of like the field that they're in, and you certainly fit the bill for that with your Jmeyels at Empire in the Apex Legends scene. So you absolutely love to see it. And so the question that I have is, throughout this process that
I'm nervous.
That you've got,
I'm like, what's he about to say? I'm a little nervous.
Throughout the process that's allowed you to get to this point, what would you say is like the biggest thing that you've learned that somebody, regardless of the field that they were trying to get into the top 1% of, that they could apply on that journey?
Honestly, man, there's so many things. God, there's so many answers that, and I think a lot of answers are valid. It's just about perspective. For me, I've had one like driving thing, and this sounds very arrogant, but I think it takes this mentality to make it in that top 1%, and that's only to choose to win. Like I don't choose to lose, and if I make mistakes, my mentality is not I failed. It's I'm going to get better. And so if that involves just putting myself out there, and it's hard sometimes to just say I was wrong. It's hard to say I made a mistake. So just choosing to only get better, because a lot of times people say, oh, my channel's just not getting, the algorithm doesn't like my channel. People, the algorithm doesn't like my tweets. No, your headlines are not good. Your thumbnails are not good. Your articles are not good. And it's hard to accept that sometimes. And so learning, like choosing to say, it's not the algorithm, it's me. And so just only choosing to win every day. And I'm not going to stop, because I keep reminding myself the only other option out there is to let my wife and kids down. And I'm not going to do that. That's not an option. So I got to keep going. And so just never literally choosing to not quit and to not lose is a mentality that a lot of people, I guess, don't have, and they'll just give up. And it's sad, because I just, like I said, I went through that hard time, and I can't imagine what other people probably go through. And I don't want that. I don't want that for anybody. I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to get their dreams accomplished. And so I just hope everybody would keep strengthening themselves and choose to win.
Well said. That's
beautiful.
Fire.
Beautiful stuff. Well, ladies and gents, once again, Jmeyels, thanks for hopping on the show. You guys can go check him out on YouTube at Jmeyels. I think I got.
Yeah, my name is actually spelled Miles, and the only reason I spelled it weird is because every tag was taken. So I just had to spell it funky so I can have a unique name.
You know what's crazy is I tried to spell that out, not realizing that it's literally right above your head on the screen right now. Like it's literally right there. And
yeah,
I almost fucked that up. So go follow him. Subscribe to him on YouTube. He's also on Twitter. Follow him there. Once again, Jmeyels, thanks for hopping on the show, man. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.